connected to the first input, and for the input sample image, going to just paste connect it to the second input. And as soon as you do that, it will create like this. Now if you make it 2 by 2, it'll create a bit more randomish tile like these.
This is a simulation game set in a virtual world and does not represent real life. Please play in moderation, take frequent breaks, and play responsibly. If you make it 4 by 4, then the calculation cost is really high, but you'll be able to use a more bigger block. But sometimes it gives you an unwanted result as well. So it depends on the image you want. In this case, 4 by 4 grid. Some of the first point for the red
too
team.
big, like you see here, so it might not be suitable for these purposes. So let's make it 3 by 3.
Watch out!
But later on, if you want to make those grid like L-shape, 4 by 4 starts to be something. So,
cover me!
That now, but for now,
watch
I'm
out!
going to go with these as a base. And in order to replace this small grid procedure process, I'm going to keep that to later. I'm going to keep that to the last one. First of all, I would like to just try to create the base geometry for the building.
Watch out! Mark the location.
Clear! I think. Okay, oops.
No mercy! Watch out!
Wave function, which is not what I want.
Watch out! Watch out!
Prevent that. Now, to try this out, I'm going to keep the output a bit smaller so that the calculation will be faster. So I'm gonna do it.
Watch out!
Right, and then. Since I would like to build a building,
watch out!
It's a bit hard to see, but there is one here, so I'm only going to retrieve the point, which is
the red team. Watch out! In the lead.
कहाँ से? Use the delete node.
Watch out!
Get only the points which the color is black. And to do that, I'm going to check this.
Watch out! Watch out!
Points, and I want to retrieve that. Delete non-selected. Okay, now I have got the center point for the grid for the building part. Now I am going to create a single grid or a square, the size of 1 by 1 and no split lines. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to call this single grid to points. Now all those
doesn't have a lot of time
points
left.
have been saved to each of the grid points. That already looks good. Now what I want to do next is I'm extrusion, but before doing that, currently there's the inside. So
Target down.
the first thing I will do is to fuse
Red team victory.
merged points or overlapping points. Then going to use the divide node to make it the straight edges so that you only have the outline points and all the inside points will be disappeared or dissolved.
This is a simulation
Now,
game set in a virtual world and
what
does
I'm going
not
to
represent
do now
real life.
is to
Please play in
measure
moderation,
the area
take
for each of
frequent
the
breaks,
primitive, and
and
based
play
on this area I'm going
responsibly.
to set the height of each primitives, which doesn't really matter if you make it random, but I'm just going to keep some rules here to set the height of the building based on the area. Set the height of the building. Let's do that by using, since I would like to access each of the primitive attributes and set the height for each primitive, I am going to use the primitive parameter. I mean, you could also use like for each loop as well, but it's going to be a bit, the calculation is going to be a bit slower, so I'm gonna do it this primitive wrangle way to make the building, the extrusion procedurally, so that you could also create a size for the windows as well at the same time. So let's name this extrusion. Let's open this editor up by Alt E. Right, now let's do this. First of all, first thing I would like to do is to retrieve the area from the primitive attribute for so this, and then I would like to calculate the height of the edge of the primitive, or edge of the building from this, using this area. So and I'm going to use the power function with some power value. I'm gonna create a parameter called pow. Apply, accept, okay. So, and also promote this parameter. So by changing this, you'll be able to specify how this area being affected with the height. If you have high value, then you have more area you have, more height you'll be able to have. Less value you have, less effective, but the area and the height. Now that I have those information, let's start building. Let's start doing the extrusion procedure. Which this will give you a number of points here. Now I can loop through this point list and access to the point position. First of all, I'm going to retrieve the point number for each point and then get the point position for each of the point number like this. And then if you just want to raise this points upward with this height, what you can do is just create a new position plus set 0 height 0, then create a new point add point 0 and pause, and use those points to create a new primitive. So and prim add prim 0 poly, and add vertex at this newly created point into this empty primitive. Alright, now all the height seems equal, or may not that difference. I mean, there are some differences here, but it's not really big of a difference. But by raising this value up, you'll be able to see more differences based on the area. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so next thing you want to do is to create a side of this building, I guess. So let's also do that. You need to have a list of points, which is this one, together with the PTS right here. This is the original points here, this is the newly created. And by having two point arrays, you'll be able to create the side using for loop. So and PTS add using array. Right. So yeah, I have a question, why not using poly extrude D scale? Well, that's would extrusions by using some additional attributes that I'm going to create later. So that's kind of why. But I guess you could also do that as well, maybe with some of the process. But let's just do this way. I mean, if you know the easy way to do that, it's that way. I guess I'm doing the hard way, hardcore way. Right, kind of my practicing the vex as well, I guess. Alright, so what I want to do now is to add or append this NPT that I have created to the new array here. Now let's create the side using a for loop. And then access to a 4 points to create the side. So PT1 and PT2 is from the PTS I plus 1, and remained using the PTS. PT3 will come from the MPTS I plus 1 modulus len MPTS, and in PT4 and PTS I, and I think that's the to create each of the side for these squares. So after I have it, I can create a primitive polygon. Let's name this side poly. Add prim 0 poly. PT1, PT2, PT3, and PT4. Alright. So now that I have created the extrusion like this, but this is not enough actually. What I wanted to do is to create a window-like shape, which looks like these. If you zoom this up. So if I look at this geometry, just by having a one full
Watch
side
out.
to each of the buildings
Watch
is not
out.
enough. I have to kind of split this building into layers and also in the vertical direction as well to create a bunch of windows. Okay, so let's try to do that using same flex functions. Now, first of all, I would like to define the number of layers on the height direction, and for this example, I'm just going to keep the layer height, each of the layer height one equal to 1, which is the same size as the grid, single grid size, but you can make it like vary by using random, but for now I'm going to make the height fixed. So that means this height itself is actually going to be the number of layers. Now currently the calculation result for this one is not really an integer, so to make it as to be able to use each height, each layer's height to be 1, I'm going to make it first of all an integer value by using like seal or round int or floor functions. I'm going to use seal to get the ceiling value from the floor value. Okay, so now the building height clamped between the 0 to some integer value. Okay. Now, next thing I would like to do is to create each layer's point using this height value and the number of layers. Okay, so let's, and to do that I am going to create another loop besides this one. So first of all I'm going to hide this one. Create a new loop. Let's use n as an attribute. And h will be the number of layers. Okay. Split these by these top plane as well. And currently I only have the one that's on the bottom. The bit of points upward by number of layers. I already have the bottom one, so I'm going to keep the stuff from 1. Which I'm going to use it as a height, and then again smaller than or equal. Okay, so use this kind of conditions. Right. I am going to copy all these values here inside this one. Okay, and then let's create a point here, and let's see what it does. I don't really need the primitive top part, so I'm going to remove this one and this one. Okay, and I think I also need to set the height for each layers, which is defined right here. So I should replace this h and use this one. So let's set it to n. Okay, So now I have a bunch of points which explains the layers. A layer for the building. Okay. Okay, I have a question. Is your Twitter mainly for Japanese audience? Well, I'm not sure. I'm tend to tweet in Japanese, sometimes in English, but since I'm Japanese, and Twitter is to tweet what you think in mind, I guess. So I think in Japanese, so that's what I tweet. Right.
Don't give up. Your teammates can still recall you.
Where was I? So next thing I would like to do is to create a face for each of the layers, like this one, and this one, and this one, so on. Okay, that's what I want to do next, using all those points information. Now to do that, you see that this is a, if you look at the side, if you focus